Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to thedailyblue.com. Coming up next on A Ship Called Relation, it's Viewer's Choice. We're going to be answering your questions and your concerns that you have about relationships. Plus, later in the show, your favorite game is back, Sink or Swim. It's happening right now on A Ship Called Relation. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Ship Called Relation. I'm your host, Jason Angelica. Good morning. It's Hump Day. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Brittany, Kelly, Desiree, how are you guys?
We're good.
Great to see you back.
Yeah.
We missed you last week.
I know.
Where were you?
I don't know. I don't even remember. Whatever. I'm back. That's all that matters.
We're all here. We're all here. We have a great show for you guys today. It's Viewer's Choice. And if you remember, all last week I've been posting on my social media about what questions and concerns you have about relationships. And of course, the floodgates rolled in a bunch of responses. So we're going to get to all of that today. So I want to talk with all of you very quickly. If we could talk about, before your relationships, what was one thing that you wish you had advice on, never got it, or like a huge concern about getting into a relationship? Because that's kind of what we're talking about today.
Wow. About getting into a relationship?
Right.
Or being in a relationship.
Well, like, what's your biggest concern, or a question that you've been wanting to ask and just need an answer to?
Wow, I wish I knew this before we started filming.
Well, I'll give you an example. I was talking to Desiree before the show. And like for me, when I was younger, I felt like I had the biggest problem meeting the right people. Like I was meeting them in the wrong places. I was going out on dates with guys I had no business going on dates with because they weren't for me whatsoever. But it's like, I guess, lack of experience. I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And that's what led to like having so many bad relationships, because I wasn't really focusing on what I needed, because I don't think I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another big thing is people try too hard. I know everyone always says it happens when you least expect it, but I think that really is true. And when you're trying so hard, you're going out on all these dates and you're trying to like force it, it's not going to happen that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I wish someone told me that every guy isn't going to have the best interest in mind, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not all honest.
Yeah. This is true, just from Summer Secrets a few weeks back.
And even people will lie about the craziest things just to get
Hang
you.
out.
Yeah. Oh my God, isn't that so true? What is the craziest thing that somebody's ever lied to you about?
Their name, their age, where they lived, their job,
I was actually
who they
thinking,
were. Yeah. The same person, all these things. I actually found out because I never thought to look at his driver's license. I didn't think someone would lie about their name and their age.
Me?
Oh yeah, complete sociopath.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did
That's a dangerous situation.
Yeah, I did a criminal. You were there.
Yeah.
And I found out he was not who he said he was. Completely
my
different
God.
person.
So what
I
did
wish
you
someone
do?
warned me. I filed a no contact order.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is
So I
crazy.
was 23 and he told me he was 26, but he was 34 or 36.
These stories still blow my mind, because it's like I've never experienced anything. Like
it's
I just
crazy.
went out with like your basic loser that like had no job or no way of supporting themselves, and I was like, all right, this isn't gonna work out. But that's like the worst of the worst for me.
Oh yeah. So I wish someone said, question everything.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, good advice. Question everything. Daz, how about you?
Let's see. Something I wish I knew. That you have to really give them a chance.
Yeah.
You can't just go on one day and be like, I'll never see them again. I didn't feel it. I feel like you need to know, like we talked on one of your other shows, I give them like a 3-date thing. By the 3rd date, But
Yeah.
I feel like I'm so quick to one thing and turn me off to them. Like I never want to talk to them
See,
again.
I'm kind of shallow like that. Like that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I have a
think a
list,
lot of
and if
people
you
are
don't
like
meet
that.
all of those,
Yeah.
Well, I just feel like now obviously I'm engaged. I'm not looking anymore, but certainly prior to that, I was already like figuring out what I wanted in a companion and like what worked for me, what my type was and things. I think that was my biggest problem way back when, and that's kind of what we have here. here. So are you ready to get to viewers' choice
Yes,
stories? I'm
so ready.
excited. Okay. All right, we actually have a viewer in Texas, so it's great that we have this little web
Wow.
show. Everybody can
That's
see it.
awesome.
So Carter from Texas had
Is he a
written,
cowboy?
Cowboy, maybe
Yay.
he is. Send us photos. Brittany wants
Yes.
to see them. I'm so bad at starting conversations. What can I do? I feel like that's a lot of people's problem.
Yeah.
Because it's scary when you're meeting somebody new.
You don't want
For
to
the
talk
first
too
time.
much about yourself, but you don't want to feel like you're interrogating the person. I say try to find a common interest and then kind of just let it flow. Be yourself. Just talk, but don't interrogate.
Yeah.
Right.
No one wants to play 21
You don't want to
questions
be in
at
a
dinner.
job interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta
I
find
think
that
asking
common ground.
questions gets like tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Ask a question and then talk about it, but don't just keep going down a list of questions.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like your
Yeah.
favorite color, your birthday, this, that.
Yeah.
Like,
Who
like,
really
it's
cares
too
about your
much.
favorite color?
Yeah.
In the long run, it doesn't really matter unless he's buying you something that color.
Exactly. Then you can ask me what my favorite color is when we're getting to Christmas season.
Yeah, what are you getting me that color? It depends where it's going.
But going back to it's important to really know what your type is too, because
Yeah.
then you can seek out the right kind of person, and then it's easier to make conversation. I mean, certainly, especially in the gay world too. There's so much hey or sup. When you're doing the online dating
Sup.
thing, I used to get this stuff all the time.
Sup,
It's like
bae?
that's attractive to me to
Yeah.
see sup
Yeah.
in the little instant messenger
right.
thing, So start with hello, my name is Carter,
Yeah.
and how are you?
Yeah, yeah.
Even as general as that, that kind of goes a long way than hey,
Hey,
Yeah.
because hey is horses.
Okay.
I don't know,
Pays for horses.
what?
I think when you're first starting out, I like the phone call. I think
Yeah.
you kind of it's scary especially if you meet them online or something.
Yeah.
They're texting you. It's like I still don't know what you sound like
Anything
or
about
what
you.
you're
Yeah.
you kind of want to hear that person's voice.
Yeah.
You never know. What
voice
if it's
can make or
really
break
high
a person,
pitched?
too.
Yeah, let me tell you, that's how shallow I used to be. I'm so embarrassed. I
It's not
did
being
not.
shallow. It's kind of like getting
Yeah.
to know a person before you have to meet them.
It's true.
It opens a little conversation.
When I was starting to date this guy, we only went on one date, and then it was I just couldn't get over his voice. It was just it was very high pitched. It was very gay. And I don't know. I don't know. I was shallow in that sense. I was like, this isn't going to work out. If your voice is higher than mine, hey, it's not going to work out. Okay.
You have to like little things about them, like their speaking voice. You're going to hear it for a very long
You're gonna hear it
time.
for
You
a
know,
long
you're gonna
time.
wanna
if it's something that
Yeah.
makes your insides boil, it's not
If it's
gonna
nails
work.
on a chalkboard, it's not going to work out.
25, 40 years
You
from
would just
now,
be
and
like,
you're
"Shut
like, oh, I'll kill you.
Okay, so good advice. All right, next, Kyle from Long Island wrote, I have a problem staying interested.
Don't we all?
That's my problem.
But that's an interesting question or statement, because it's why are you losing interest? I mean,
Yeah.
is it because you're meeting the wrong people? I definitely have more questions, but these are things that he could think about. Are you meeting the wrong people that it's not your type and it's not what you're really interested in? Because let's face it, that's not going to work. If you're going out with somebody just for the sake of dating them and because they asked you, but there's nothing that you're attracted to whatsoever, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Or you're just physically attracted to them, and then you lose interest because you realize you literally have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I think it could be your fault. Are you losing interest because you're being boring? Maybe you're not choosing great dates. Maybe you're not interesting her or gaining her interest or whatever you call it. And so she's kind of giving up. I
Sure.
think it's
That
kind
could
of
be
both
true.
persons.
Yeah.
Each person
You,
has.
you kind of have to bring
a factor in
something
that.
to the table, too, in that essence.
I
Yeah.
think basically if you're losing interest and that person's just not for you, something's
Yeah.
not clicking that's going to
Yeah.
keep you guys, engaged in each other.
Well, this
Right.
is kind of a statement that I live by now. It's I'm sure we've all been in relationships where maybe the guy was more interested in us than we were them. And that's great and it's flattering in some cases, but let's face it, just because they think we're meant for them, it doesn't always mean they're meant for
Right.
us. So
Exactly.
don't feel bad. I mean, you'll hurt the person's feelings, but life goes on and,
Yeah.
it's a whirlwind. And you'll
Only
meet
helping
somebody
yourself
else.
in the long run.
And
Exactly.
helping them too, because then
Yeah.
you're not wasting their time.
Yeah,
You're
no one
getting
wants
them
their
out
time
to go
wasted.
find someone that appreciates them the much as they
Yeah.
appreciate
I mean, don't waste
someone else.
anybody's time, especially your own as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
Okay, next, Stephen from Medford. All these men today. Stephen from Medford wrote, well, when I tell a guy I'd rather meet for coffee than just a hookup, I get blocked. Okay, well, let me start with that one, just because been there, done that. I already know where you're looking, and if that's where you're looking, you're not going to find love there. So let's start with that. You're looking in the wrong places. But certainly my advice to him is choose better outlets for finding dates, but
Delete
stick
some of
to
those apps.
delete some of those apps, because that's what they are, right? So definitely look in other avenues for what you're looking for in love, and definitely keep your let's meet for coffee attitude, because there's nothing wrong with that. Now, what's your guys' take?
Like I said, you're looking on the wrong online websites, and I know you're on those websites. I know which ones you're on too, and they're the wrong ones.
Do tell. How do you know, Britt? I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, I've had friends who do this. Like, oh, I met this guy on Plenty of Fish, and he doesn't like me. I'm like, well, duh.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually
Plenty
have
of
a
Fish.
coworker that I work with, and she's been on Plenty of Fish, and she's like, they're just not the right men.
Like,
And she's an
come on.
older woman too, so I'm like, you definitely need to get out of that kind of site,
Yeah,
because
that's not your...
the wrong people are going on those sites.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
exactly.
you have
For
to
you.
put a little bit in to get something worthwhile out of it.
Just because it's free doesn't mean it's
Exactly. It's
worth
not
it.
for me.
if
Yeah.
it's free, it's not necessarily for me. That's how I look
exactly.
at it, you know? I'd rather pay for
Do you
quality.
do you really want a guy who's on a free site looking for love?
Yeah.
Like, come on,
I mean,
no,
that-
he's not.
You kind of answered your own question there.
Yeah, so
Okay.
find other places to look.
Yeah, definitely new outlets. But keep that attitude that you absolutely want to date. I mean, if you're into like the whole hookup thing, I mean, that's what you want at the moment, that's great. But if you're looking for love, then you got to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of a group thing here. Michael, Peter, and Carter have the same problem. I'm having problems finding a man for something real, not just for sex. Should I take that one first, since I'm kind of the expert here?
Yes.
Okay. I think it goes back to where they're looking for
Yeah,
love,
sounds
really.
like it.
I mean, I've been in relationships since I was 18 now, and I looked in all those wrong places. So that's why people ask, how do you do this relationship show? You're not an expert or a therapist. No, but I lived and I learned. So now I'm offering the advice that I wish I had. So I think these guys are just really looking in the wrong places. And I know that, especially in the gay community too, it's a lot of socializing. You're going to bars and you're going to clubs and you're downloading those apps, but those aren't the greatest places to meet people if you're really looking for a serious relationship.
In my opinion, I say stop looking so hard.
It's the
Like,
same
just
thing,
live your life, and you don't know who you're gonna meet. Like, I feel like we were just talking about this the other day. When you're like really looking, chances are you're
You're
just
just not
trying
gonna-
too hard.
Yeah.
You're
Just like
looking
I
too
said
hard.
earlier, you never...
And then it's like you're kind of losing like your own interests and stuff. Do what you love, and you'll probably meet someone doing that same thing.
That is exactly what I wrote in my blog. You read my blog, didn't
Maybe
you?
I did.
No, but it's true though. I mean, it's like if you spend more time focusing on your stuff, because we all could, better ourselves in some ways.
course.
When you do something more positive, then your self-esteem goes up. And I feel like even so many of these other stories that we've read over the past few months of doing this show, it all stems back to confidence. And I feel like so many of these people are lacking the confidence. Like especially the first guy that has trouble starting conversations. It's kind of a confidence thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's
Go
like,
to an improv class. That's
Yeah.
a good one for him.
that is.
Get comfortable with
Yeah.
speaking and talking.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Excellent. Okay, so ladies, are you ready to move on to Sink or Swim? You have your cards ready?
Of course.
Grab them. Here we
Always.
go. It's time to play Sink or Swim. Okay. Our story today is from Angelica. She writes, my boyfriend Mark and I have been together for 3 years. We met in college and I fell in love with him. I thought he was my soulmate and we had this undeniable connection. I loved the fact that he was a nerd and I found it so cute and endearing. Being that I was somewhat the same, now I'm seeing his true colors. He idolizes his brother. When he used to talk about him, I found it cute how he looked up to him. But now he's just becoming a shadow of his brother, and it's become more and more unattractive to me. On top of that, I've developed a desire to have children and be a mom one day, but more and more I'm picturing other men as the father of my children as well as being my husband. I love Mark very much and I still feel a connection, but romantically and sexually I'm losing interest and running out of passion. Do you think it's possible to save my relationship with Mark? That's from Angelica.
Yes.
Ooh, you think so?
That's
All
a
right.
hard one.
Since you chimed in first, go ahead. What do you think?
She said she's losing passion and stuff. I think that most of her problems could be solved by speaking to him and communicating. That's so many people have this issue in their relationships.
Yeah.
They don't talk and they let this stuff fester in their heads and they overthink things and they do nothing about it. If you're going to do nothing about it, then bye. Like, obviously your relationship's going to fall apart because you're just going to internalize all these issues. Talk about it.
Yeah.
that could literally save your relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always things to try, and
Yeah.
it's
If it's
worth
worth
giving.
it.
If you still feel a connection, it's worth giving a
Yeah.
shot. And if that doesn't work, then maybe reconsider. But if you haven't tried anything yet,
I mean,
Well,
it's 3
like-
years too. I mean, like that's
That's
kind
a
of a
nice
long
amount of
time.
time.
Like you might need to spark some.
And visit a
spark it.
therapist,
Spark it
too.
up.
Every
Spark it up.
relationship goes through those little like
Oh, absolutely.
losing
Yeah.
passion
Absolutely.
moments, but go on vacation together. Spend
Yeah.
time just the two of you for like a couple days. Talk to him about his brother issues. You know,
How about every time he talks about his brother, he has to give her $1?
he'll start talking really
Like the
quick.
swear jar.
yeah, swear jar, brother jar.
No, but that's good advice. Though. Like communication is so key, and I feel like even after 3 years, that's a serious, committed relationship. She's thinking about just so she also needs to talk with him. Does he plan on being a father? Does he want to be a father?
It's a big step.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big commitment. I mean, let alone just a relationship alone. I mean, now you're thinking about bringing children into the
Are
world.
they married?
No, they're
No.
from.
Maybe
let me
she should
think.
take it one step at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, they've been together for 3 years, so I don't know what
Do
exactly
they live
that
together?
means.
Yes.
Maybe they should
Yeah.
move in together and see how
Yeah.
that, if that
Yeah.
sparks the interest back again.
Yeah. Okay, good advice. So let's vote. What do you think? Sink or swim?
Swim.
Swim it.
Yeah.
Talk
Swim.
it out. Communicate.
Good. So we're ending on a positive note there. So just go back to some of these other stories from these viewers that we read. I mean, what do we think? Should they sink or should they swim? And based on what they have, I think that they're going to sink if they're looking in all the wrong places. So that's why it's so important to take the advice of looking in other social outlets and join groups. There's so many singles groups out there. I mean, Maureen Tower Nelson has a great program going on with matchmaking, and JR has been keeping in touch with us. If you remember JR from several weeks ago, he's still looking for that first date. I have to say,
Really?
he hasn't quite found his first date yet.
Oh boy.
But he's looking, and he had a little bit of a relapse. He was seeing the 25-year-olds again. So that's our update on our friend Jimmy that was on the show several weeks ago with Maureen.
Oh my God. Also, meetup.com has a ton of groups, and it's based on your interests too.
Yeah.
I've been in touch with a guy on that site just from events that we've been planning and stuff. And he has singles groups and adventure groups, and you never know who you're going to meet. Like,
Yeah.
get a hobby.
Things like that are fun because it's not like you're going to date someone.
Yeah.
You're just going to have fun, and if you meet
Exactly.
someone,
You meet
great.
someone.
And you probably have a better chance because now you're meeting people that share that interest.
Yeah.
So now you have a conversation starter. See? Always thinking.
True.
Ladies, anything else you would like to add? It always goes by so fast, this show.
I know. Communicate and expand your
Spend your
Expand your
mind.
horizons.
mind and horizons.
Don't get
Keep
so caught up in finding someone. Let it happen. It'll
Yeah.
happen.
Be happy with who you are. Do
Be
things that
confident.
you enjoy.
Yes.
And for
And-
passion, pick up a Cosmopolitan magazine or something.
You'll be passionate with it.
Or a
Plenty of stuff
Glamour. I
out there.
found some
Plenty of
good
stuff
tips
in
in there
there.
too.
Yeah.
Cosmo and Glamour have the best tips.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we should totally cast for a real life 50 Shades of Grey story. The movie's coming out.
Oh
They're
my
working
gosh.
on it. Oh, come on. This will be great. This will be so much fun. But next week, we're actually going to be talking about losing interest in your relationship in ways that you can keep your ship afloat. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. But before we go,
Appropriate ways.
I just posted my first blog here on thedailyblue.com. So
Yay.
after the show, stay logged on and visit my blog. It goes live at 11 on the dot. And I have more detailed advice and information for you to follow that we didn't get to cover in the show. So definitely check that out. Continue sending your sink or swim stories. We love to read them. We'll decide your fate. And maybe we'll try something new. We'll put some of these stories on the blog and let you, our viewers,
Comment.
decide what you think about these stories, if they should sink or if they should swim. So,
Like
ladies,
it.
thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
I'm Jason Galka. This is A Ship Called Relation. We'll see you next week.